Well, you can hear me, he can hear me, everybody can hear me? Check, 1, 1, 1, 1.
Yeah, Jack's saying we're good. I can't hear it on the chat box.
Who's got the headphones locked?
He did by access.
Oh. He told me that can't come off. He said glue it or tape it or something.
So we taped it. It was hitting the button.
Can you hear me, Charlie? Can you hear me, Will? Can you hear me, Will? I know he's not listening. Scotty, can you hear me?
You must have figured that up. I can hear you real fine.
Little Rush can hear me. Everything's 10-4.
Yeah, or if we can bypass this with something other than the mouse, that might help too.
Yes, can I help you?
That might be cool. Okay, we'll see what we can do with that. I just untaped it, so completely tape house. Make sure it's
Oh, he's been here last week. She doesn't show up a lot of times. You said, well, you wanted to do it something. Can you remember?
What's that?
Can you remember tonight? Can we delete the past programs that are on this thing? I know she'll want you to leave, but send her with whatever. No, there's nothing.
I'm not going to stay. It's been warm sitting there. When I go to sit over there and I hear it buzzing, and we run around everybody, he had to get over here. Well, thank you. I'm trying. I'm trying to make it even better. I can hear that. You're good. That's what I want. I want to hear it. That's right. Oh, beautiful. Oh, there he goes. It's an autograph. I should have brought a Sharpie with me. Sure.
You're not here because you want to make questions. As soon as I heard in order to get everybody else to make copies.
That's true.
I'm going to ask him that.
That was nice.
Yeah, but because he realized that was the tape was depressing. I know, you didn't do anything, you didn't do anything wrong. But the tape was depressing when accidentally though, you did what he told you to do. It had an unintended consequence. pictures of a whole bunch of picture looks even better now. Thought you were working out and you weren't going to be hobbling anymore.
What?
Thought you were working out and you weren't going to be hobbling anymore. Get better? You look a little more hobbly today. Tuesdays are rough. Yeah, I know this is good.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'll let you eat dinner. Am I first here?
Oh.
God, Nick Gilbert showed up? See, this is a heavy night tonight. Okay. And bring the B team in. Right? Okay. Oh, great. Good to have free beer. Oh, okay. Okay.
Sorry, you're getting everything off.
Sounds like you're playing. It could be a 4-hour show tonight. Probably like you non-cancer tonight. How is it? And right. Right. Exactly. That would be a good idea. That would be a good idea. No, but still pretty good. It's my pleasure. I can't believe Nick Yeoman's here. I mean, that's Nick. How much he pay you to be here? He doesn't come out. He never comes out. Yeah. There he is.
Thanks, guys.
Good. Good.
That's right. Congratulations, Mark. Well deserved. The right guy in the right
I saw that one hanging upside down. I'm like, that's crazy.
We got fellow Ball State alum.
Yeah, I was just going to say that why I didn't like it.
Well, it's, you know, God has to be an extra 50 coming out.
There's nothing for him to do.
All he was driving on. He couldn't stay out. That's the illegal.
He looked fine.
We're pretty before the presenting sponsor was
That's so cool, Mark.
Any of the other team members? Here's some.
I understand, but no, that's professionally and financially. I don't know if it was 16. I don't know if you better or not.
Hey! Come up here. Manchester, you what? We got plenty.
I don't have any, ma'am.
What?
I don't have any of those.
Listen to what I said. I want this up here so I don't forget it, because if somebody's picture up here, I got to push it. That's why. Here, go. Hey! Damn it!
I'll grab some here, Bob. I'll put some extras up here. So people just want to grab it. Oh, yeah.
Mr. Jaynes? All right, I'll start without you, not a problem.
DP Insurance.
Come over here.
Oh, okay.
And Ted? Ted? I wanted you to see if he was in the picture, but I just got him removed. So keep an eye when I get two people up here. I'm going to bring his people up.
Yeah, I moved
No, there's a little button here.
Oh, you can zoom in, zoom out, whatever. Okay, I can do that.
But don't, there,
Don't be
go
too rough. Yeah, right.
By the way,
Oh,
you do understand that you are now assured of going to heaven.
Makes me the little baby guy.
I trust there was no question, but you're certainly confirmed.
Awesome. That's good to know.
all right, we are ready to start the Autosportradio.com 2016 show. I'm your host, Don Kay. Chuck Schumann is here running his mouth, but I'm going to talk over him. And welcome you to the Autosport Radio program. We're live from McGilvery Speedway, 30th and High School in the beautiful town of Speedway, Indiana. A couple of things to mention to you. For those of you who know Fred Jones, his wife Susie passed away last Friday, I believe it was. The memorial service was today. We send our best to Fred. He was a great guy. He still is, actually. He traveled with him for a couple of years, had a great time, and Susie was out in Colorado, I think, and she wanted to go in the media center and look around, and they wouldn't let her in, so I brought her in. And she liked me after that. Amazing. Our friend Dennis Hunley is still hospitalized in Community East. I was just told earlier that he will be released from confinement on Friday. We were up to see him on Sunday, and he's struggling, but he's coming along slowly but surely. Want to also mention that Mike Smith isn't here for, I think, the fourth week. He's got some health issues, and he's fighting his way through. And got to welcome, after 1 week of having a hip replacement, Glenn Timmis is here 1 week later. And he wasn't here last week when I fawned over him and wished him happy birthday, so belated happy birthday. That's it. We're done. I have some guests. I'm sorry?
Mike is here.
Mike who? Where the hell is he? He's not here. No, jeez Louise. Trouble I get into. If you have a computer problem, which I have, I go to a genius to fix them. His name is Jack. He's at Computer Overdrive. They're located at 5240 Crawfordsville Road. They're on the northeast corner of Crawfordsville and Lyndhurst. If you have a problem, look for Computer Overdrive. They'll go through your computer for free and tell you what the problem is and what needs to happen to fix it. If you'd like to try some simulated racing, get a hold of Kelly Jones at Racecraft 1. He'll let you go up there and give it a whirl. He's in the Indy Health and Fitness building at 8660 Guyan Road. His number is 317-998-9138. And as I keep bragging about, I'm getting myself back to where I can walk reasonably well, and Dr. Rob Schroeder is the man handling that. If you have a problem with your limbs, your back, your neck, he does it all, and studied intentionally because he wanted to do athletes. So you can reach him, get an appointment. His number is 317-388-8755. And the 100th 500 is upcoming, and you might be having a party, a group from anywhere from 20 up to 2,000. If you need some help, there is a special events professional, Tony Meyer, is available. She can handle everything. And you can reach her by calling her cell at 317-515-7929, or her email address is tmeyer, M-E-Y-E-R, Indy 63 at AOL.com. That's tmeyer, Indy 63 at AOL.com. If you want to have a party, she knows how to put them together. That's what she's done for over 25 years. Like I said, this is a Autosportradio.com show presented by Honda, and founded in 1993 to spearhead Honda's entry into IndyCar racing. Honda Performance Development has overseen successful racing efforts at all levels of the sport, from karting and quarter midgets to IndyCar and prototype sports cars. HPD offers race engines, competition products for professional, amateur, and entry-level racers. For more information about HPD and the company's racing product lines, please visit hpd.honda.com. That's hpd.honda.com. And for those of you who are vintage racing aficionados and would like to check them out this year, the first event of the year is upcoming February 5th through the 7th, the 2016 Duel in the Desert with the SVRA and VARA at the Spring Mountain Motorsports Ranch in Rump, Nevada. So mark that down, and if you're out that way, stop in. You'll see cars that you just won't believe. Now, my first guest is a gentleman who's been here on a number of occasions. I have had the privilege of working with him or spotting for him. I don't say anything except look for that. And he has had an interesting broadcasting career. He even started out dreaming as a kid in his bedroom doing the calls of the Indianapolis 500. And after his internship along the way, that dream has finally come true. And I have to say that I've learned a lot being around Mark. Most of it not good, of course, but and most of it I can't use. But it's been fun. I've always enjoyed it. I think he's as good a broadcaster as there is, and he's here tonight. I can't believe it. He is the new lead announcer for the IndyCar Series and the IMS Radio Network, and will be in the Golden Throne for the Indianapolis 500. Please welcome Mr. Mark Jaynes.
Thank you, Don. Thank you.
Now, did I say everything that you told me to say? Did I say it right?
That's it, word for word. You did good.
Did you ever, when you were a young lad, according to your article, that as a young boy you did in your bedroom and you practiced calling the 500?
Yeah, I did. I mean, it started just like many love affair. Many started with this event in your parents' backyard, and heaven rest his soul, Niall Denny was my elementary school principal at Hull, and he was known once you got to be a 5th or 6th grader to start guiding you in a direction toward what you wanted to do with your life. So he stopped me one day coming off the playground and said, asked me that question. We talked about some things. He said, "What do you think you want to do with your life?" And I said, "I'm going to be a Major League Baseball player." He said, "Well, I just saw you play softball, and you might want to rethink that." He said, "And with your inability to keep your mouth shut and your love of sports," he said, "I would think journalism or broadcasting would be a good vocation for you." So he took me into his office, and for one of the few times I wasn't in there to get 10 whacks from him. But that was in the days when they could paddle. Long for those days. But we had a long talk about broadcasting, and he suggested I start calling radio stations and talking to disc jockeys and people in sports and things of that nature, and I did. And I asked my parents for a realistic cassette recorder for Christmas that year, and I used to make up mock Indy 500s and act as though I was interviewing. I had friends of mine play Johnny Rutherford or Mario Andretti or the Unzers and all of that. So yeah, my mom held on to one of those cassettes. It's in a box somewhere. I'm going to try to see if I can find it when the weather gets warm. We can get out in the garage where everything's stored. But yeah, I mean, and from there I got involved in journalism once I got into high school at Monrovia, and then my sophomore year in high school, WCBK in Martinsville, Indiana, hired me to do 3-minute sports reports for Monrovia football and basketball, and I actually started my broadcasting career my sophomore year in high school, and I got paid a handsome sum of $5 a game to call in those sports reports. So.
Well, I mean, that's not bad.
I make $7.50 a race now. So
I was going to say, I was going to ask if you're up to $10.
Yeah, that's right.
Wally Levitt, the executive producer of IMS Radio Network, was here. He had to leave because he wasn't feeling well, and he dropped some posters off. And if anybody hasn't got one, we've got some here. But I said, "Wally, I'm sorry you're leaving because there's a question. I've heard the rumor. I just want to see if it's true." He said, "What's that?" That all of the broadcast team all took a pay cut so that they could move you up to that. And he said, "Yeah, that's true."
Well,
several of them are going, "Yeah."
Well, I'm fortunate. I think all of this happened not only because of the 20 years of my body of work with this network, but I think, quite frankly, a large part of the credit has to go to the people that we have on the entire team, and many of them are here tonight. Some of them can't be because of other responsibilities, but for sure there are a number of people eminently qualified to be the anchor of this radio network, and it is incredibly enthusiastic, dedicated, passionate, but more importantly, a talented group of people, not just to their careers, but first and foremost to the sport and the fans. And I think we have a versatility among all of us that almost no other organization has in terms of the people that could be in the booth as an anchor or serve as an analyst or be a pit reporter or call the turn. I mean, everyone that works with us this year has that ability. So I'm really, really fortunate in that regard. And I look at it more, Don, as going from being a musician to the conductor. And I know, having coached at high school and middle school level, you got to have a good staff and you got to have good players, and we certainly have both with IndyCar Radio. And so my biggest challenge is to stay out of the way and not screw it up.
Well, Michael Young is part of the staff, and he spends his days doing graphics.
We don't talk about Michael a lot.
I know.
We really don't.
Nick
he's
Yeoman.
kind of, we've got Nick, we've got Jake, we've got Katie, we've got.
That's what I'm afraid
we
of.
don't talk about
You got
Michael
Nick
a lot.
Yeoman is out with a camera taking pictures of his illicit stuff for Channel 59.
Nick's feet are not touching the floor because I think he's the only Carolina Panthers fan in the entire state of Indiana. He's in a fog right now. So.
And we're also graced tonight that Katie is here. You see her on 59 doing special reports, and I'm surprised they don't have something for her to do tonight to mess it up from getting here.
She dresses the place up a little bit, doesn't she?
You're not a whistling Dixie.
Yeah, right.
I'm trying to hustle this along so I can bring her up.
I understand.
Now, when you started, has it always been your dream that someday I want to be up there calling the Indianapolis 500? Was that praying in your mind for the last 25, 30 years? Because you've been in broadcasting down in Terre Haute long before you came up to IMS Radio Network.
Yeah, honestly, it didn't cross my mind really until Mike left a couple of years ago. That's when I kind of started to get more serious about having the opportunity to do it. Mike and I worked together for a number of years at WTHI, talking about Mike King, and we did a lot of feature races together at the Action Track on our AM. The longtime broadcast partner is the title I came to be known by, and I thought that at the very least that if I had an opportunity to do it, it would be 10, 12 years down the road when Mike decided to step away, and I'd have a chance maybe for a few years to do it. But once Mike left, I began to get a little more serious about it, and we started putting, I think, a lot more detail into our Indy Lights shows, and I did that with the mindset of using that as an opportunity to prepare myself if that position ever came open again. And I have to credit that, and the time that I spent all of these years anchoring Indy Lights shows, practice and qualifying at the races, and again the people that I've been blessed to work with in that regard. Carrying the light shows on IndyCar.com, I think changed that mindset and provided the training that I needed to help prepare me for this.
Well, now, as I alluded to in the beginning, I was privileged to join you from your various spectacular place to watch the races. And I said, "Why do you want me to go with you?" He said, "Well, 3 eyes are better than one." I said, "Well, that's probably true." But I enjoyed the hell out of it. I mean, we got to sit up on we did sit on top of the condos in Turn 2 at Texas.
Right. You can see all the way to Oklahoma from up there, which was nice.
I mean, and the places that we got to go, except climbing the billboard in Milwaukee, that wasn't one of my favorites.
Yeah, I did that, I think, twice, and then I said no more. We started doing it from the top of the press box there. Yeah.
But it's been fun, and to listen to how you call the race and call the action, and it inspired me to do this. The only trouble is nobody else wants to do it with me, so I'm alone. I've tried to get a spotter with me, and they said no, thanks. No. So obviously the years that you spent in broadcasting have now come to allow you to be able to do what you do, and I agree with what you're saying as far as the Indy Lights races. First off, I think it's a smart thing that they finally are putting them on, so that, because I try and bring in Indy Lights and even some Pro Mazda kids are coming up that are 21 in here, so people recognize who they are, so when they do get the chance to move up, they know something about them. And by broadcasting, and are you going to continue the light stuff, or is that going to be handed off to
Nick Yeoman's going to take over anchoring those shows? and he'll do just a magnificent job. As a matter of fact, I'll probably. We talked about it tonight, and I'll probably end up back out the turn at St. Petersburg. I'll actually call a turn for the lights races because I enjoy doing that so much. And Nick will be joined by Davey Hamilton in the booth as our driver analyst, and they'll do a phenomenal job working with Diane Swintal and Michelle Kish, and of course. We were blessed to this relationship with Anderson. Dan Anderson brought Rob Howden to our shows, and Rob not only does a magnificent job with our light shows, but he's worked the IndyCar shows the past couple of years and will be with us more this year. And Rob is one of the few guys that when he interviews a guy like James Hinchcliffe in Victory Lane at an IndyCar race, chances are Rob Howden was in Victory Lane when James Hinchcliffe won his first kart race. That's how long he's been associated with karting, and so that's a very valuable asset for us to have. Plus, he's a darn good broadcaster.
I didn't realize he was that old. He's damn near old as me.
Yeah, he carries it a lot better than I do. That's for darn sure.
A lot better than I do, actually. Really, Nick Yeoman. It's a good. Is Davey going to be around for the entire season?
Yep, we'll have Davey in the booth all throughout the season. He'll be part of our shows for lights qualifying and lights races, and IndyCar qualifying and IndyCar races. And we may slip him in the door another time or two during some of the other shows that weekend.
Are you going to have some pre-race things going on other than the 500? I mean, will you have a little more in detail of what's going on? Because I don't want poor Nick to get lost. What the hell am I? Oh, yeah, okay. So if you do a pre-race program, he can kind of catch up to speed.
Yeah, I think you're talking about for lights, IndyCar.
Both.
Yeah, our lights races, the format and structure probably won't change much. I'm sure there'll be some things that Nick will want to change as the anchor, but there'll be positive changes, and he'll do things that people enjoy and will enjoy listening to and want to be a part of. But as far as the IndyCar format in terms of our pre-race, we're in discussions about some things that we want to give people an opportunity to hear from more drivers and owners and things of that nature. I mean, as much as we'd like to think that people are tuning in to listen to us outside of family, and even that's sketchy at best in my case. I think the fans tune in because they want to hear about the show, and they want to hear from the drivers and the crew chiefs and the people that are involved in making the stories. And we are the conduit and the eyes and the ears for that. And that's I think our focus first and foremost is to provide the most informational and enjoyable show possible for the fans.
Something that's always bothered me. I mean, there's a lot of things that bother me.
You can't narrow that down to one thing. You can't convince me of that.
Well, I was going to try and pick one, and it is, and it's not necessary. I think IndyCar is one of the few that doesn't do it. When there's, the opening to the race, not necessarily the introduction to the drivers, but the national anthem and stuff, they come back after that. Are you guys going to carry that like the start of the?
Our intentions are to begin carrying the invocation and the national anthem for every race all year long. Because that I think that indicates to people that the event is starting, and plus it pays respects to God and country, which I think is what we should do. So.
And if it wasn't for the people that defend us, oh my gosh, look who's here! Holy crap!
Hey, did I bring in the A-team or did I bring in the A-team? Huh?
I didn't believe you. I didn't get my hair done or anything.
Well,
so we'll talk.
That wouldn't have taken that much time.
Oh, I know. Washcloth and a little water probably pretty well handled. I couldn't be happier for you personally.
Thank you.
And I know Wally said, are you happy now, you SOB? You've sent me emails in the past. Yeah. And I think you're going to have a good time with all these people. They all, for some unknown reason, like working with you. Now, I haven't figured that one out totally. But I will tell people this. When you go into the technical booth where Wally sits with a leather chair and his feet up, watching screens.
And the comics.
Yeah, he's got a comic book in his hand. The camaraderie among the broadcasters is amazing. I mean, they poke each other, they rip each other a little bit, and it's fun to listen to. Fortunately, they don't know who the hell I am, so I don't have to put up with it. I just sit and listen and cackle.
Well, my daughter Lauren, she's here tonight, along with my wife Desiree, and thanks to Lauren she made us grandparents last May, so she's pretty high on the list right now. But I took both of my children, our son Evan, he couldn't be here tonight, he's a little under the weather. I took both of them as spotters for me to the 500. Lauren actually worked for the radio network in May one year, but they were both in the booth throughout the course of the weekend and leading up to the race. And so after the race was over, I said, so what did you think? And she said, Dad, I got to be honest. She said, it's probably the biggest collection of smartasses I've seen in one place in my life. She said, but the thing that impressed me so much and I found so amazing, which speaks to your professionalism, when the mic went on, all of that went away. And you all did your jobs and did it very well and very professionally. So I think she, better than anybody, has summed up this one big, slightly dysfunctional but very talented family that we have with IndyCar Radio.
Yeah. I know. How come I'm hearing all these things that your kids are here and there? I'm sitting out in the grandstands baking in the sun. How come I don't get invited to any of these posh places?
I've invited you to plenty of posh places over the years.
Yeah, up on top of with the sun in our eyes in Texas, trying to see the race.
Yeah.
On a lift in St. Petersburg, watching 100 feet of the track.
Sleet in the snow in Nazareth.
Well, a little bit.
All of that, yeah.
It's been fun. I think, and I think people that listen, and the thing that's been bothering me for a long time also is there's no cross-promotion of IndyCar.com. I mean, I see the emails that come out. I'm on everybody's email address. I get so many emails from teams and drivers that I've never heard of. But when IndyCar sends, there's nothing there that says the live race can be listened at IndyCar.com or Sirius. And I think you have indicated that's going to change.
Yeah, we're working to that end. I got to give a lot of credit to Mark Robinson, and I want to thank Mark for the fabulous job he did with writing the story and posting it on IndyCar.com. He's an immensely talented man, and Firestone's loss is certainly IndyCar's gain. I mean, he's a great guy, and we're thrilled to have him. But he and I have talked in that regard about ways that we can improve cross promotion. And I got to give Mike Kitchell a lot of credit too, because Kitch has gone a long way towards improving that over the past couple of years. There's no question.
Well, Mike's got one fan. It must be a relative. Are you related to him?
No.
Not yet. Okay. With your permission, I'm going to start calling up some of your dysfunctional crew.
Please do, if you don't mind. I think, Dave, do you need to go quickly because you're on a dinner break? Would you like to go?
Whatever you want to do.
Would you like to go first, Dave? It's too easy. It's a softball on the tee right there, and I had to hit it.
Well, I was going to say it. I'm glad you did because everybody said, "What's that mean?"
So yeah, Michael and Dave, maybe. How about that?
That's fine. Now we're going to call Mr. Jaynes back because I have another guest sitting back there. If you read Trackside Online, he's one of the guys that writes it and what they're doing. We're going to talk to him, Steve Wiitch, but I want to have Dave come up and Mr. Young. And while they're on their way up here, I'm going to mention to you that tonight's Autosportradio.com 2016 show presented by Honda is also sponsored at this time by Sam Pierce Chevrolet in Daleville. If you want to come to the country and see where the best prices are, they are in the country at Sam Pierce Chevrolet in Daleville. And while you're there, you will see why Sam is always rated at the top of customer satisfaction. You just take I-69 north to exit 34, go east 1 mile, and you won't miss them. It is there. And if you are a vintage car fan, do yourself a favor. Go to svra.com and subscribe to Vintage Racing Quarterly. It is a top-shelf magazine, and you'll find a lot of the cars that you used to like and follow are up and running, and you find out who owns them and find out what some of the drivers from your day or ours are doing. So do yourself a favor, subscribe to it. You'll love it. Go to SVRA and look for the Vintage Racing Quarterly and subscribe. It is a great, great magazine.
There it is.
I want to remind you, if you are interested in a ride, a two-seater or a single seat, you can go to IndyRacingExperience.com and you can sign up and mention my name and you get a 20% discount. Now's the time to sign up. They're at the Speedway quite a bit during the year, and they also travel around the country where IndyCar is. But go to IndyRacingExperience.com and sign up, and again, mention my name, you get a 20% discount. And if you're looking for insurance for your home or your car or your life, do what I did. Call VP Insurance and talk to Mike Pardee. You'll find that Mike can give you a quote, and it's probably going to save you money. It's better coverage. Mike is located at 5004 West 16th Street in the beautiful town of Speedway. His number is 317-248-0070. That's Mike Pardee at VP Insurance, 317-248-0070. Now, my guests joining me are part of the broadcast team, and we'll start with, I can't make him second. He'd never talk to me again. He is the sports director for Channel 6. He is also, when he's not doing anything else on a weekend, he goes and travels around the IndyCar Series. He's a part of the IMS Radio Network. We're very pleased to have him. He's a good guy to listen to. He knows a lot of sports. Please welcome Mr. Dave First.
Thank you.
And sitting next to Dave is the...
Oh, you're still talking.
Oh, hi,
sorry.
Dave.
Right.
I thought you left. I'm sorry. I didn't see you here. This gentleman used to be known for some reason as the racer dude. He has been with the IMS track dude.
20 years he's never got that right. Ever.
You're the racer dude.
Here's that guy, the racer fella, he's been known as.
And he is does the driver introductions prior to the race. And if you're a member of Downforce, when you go and they have their presentations, he's the guy that's up there. And I've had many, many people say, boy, that guy is good. He's really good. I don't think he's excellent, but he's okay. And he works during the day for Lance in the graphics
Freelance
business.
graphics, yep.
So please welcome Mr. Michael Young.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you.
Stand up. Come on.
No. Stop.
Sure.
Thank you.
All three of them stood up. What a guy.
Right. Checks in the mail.
Howdy said, oh, really? I'd have jumped up faster if I'd have known that. Dave, what's new and exciting in your world besides sports, and more sports?
Well, we're not covering the Super Bowl this week, so that kind of sucks, doesn't it?
I don't know. You mean you won't be talking about the... You won't be talking about the comparison of the Panthers and the Broncos?
Well, not necessarily, unless it involves one Peyton Manning.
I hear he's going to play. Now, that's just a rumor.
Who here watched the game Sunday? Yes? You and 70% of everyone else in the city of Indianapolis watched the game. I'm assuming not because of the fact that Ronnie Hillman's the running back for the Broncos, but because Peyton Manning is the quarterback of the Denver Broncos. So the ratings were through the roof. This city is still his first NFL city. This city still loves Old 18, and this might be Sunday, Super Bowl 50 might be his last game. So imagine what the ratings are going to be like then.
Now, getting away from Peyton.
I'm sorry, it's a racing show, isn't it? Well, Peyton waved the green flag for the Indy 500 a couple years ago. He's into the race.
And he owns 26 Papa John's in Denver. Poor guy.
How smart is he, by the way, just before they legalized marijuana in Colorado? He opens 20-some-odd pizza joints. And so if, for some reason you've got the munchies, for whatever reason, you've got Papa John's Pizza to go check it out. So
wonderful. How did you get involved in IMS Radio Network? Is it your wife doesn't want you around the house on weekends?
Right. The wife and kids said, get the hell out of the house. We'd go do something. Someone's actually clapping for that. Thank you.
That's your wife.
It's my dad's back there. What the hell? That's a great question. Mark probably should come up here and answer that. I just got to know Wally a little bit, and
that's enough. A little bit is all you want. A little bit.
You got to know Wally first, absolutely.
A little bit.
And striking up conversation. I locate if there was ever an opening, I'd definitely be interested. I mean, I grew up in Indiana. I went to the race since I was 9 years old. I have great interest in the 500 and IndyCar racing in general. So a couple years ago, an opening came up. They gave me a tryout. somehow he still made the cut after that. But here I am. Yeah.
Did you have enough experience? Did they think, well, look at this? Yeah, he's got enough. Let's give him a whirl. Is that how it went?
Well, sure. You got to have a little experience, right, Tom? One of these days, you're going to have that experience doing this.
I don't think so. I don't know. When Mark is promoting all these people, he never says, "Hey, let's get the chubby guy. Let's get him in." I'm out. No, they bring in good-looking women, young ladies. They bring in Nick Yeoman. I could have done that one for Pete's sake. Except they said you don't have a
the hell did
video
that mean?
camera. So you've been a race fan for the majority part of your
Sure,
life.
yeah. I mean, my dad and I and our family came up when I was 9 for our first Indy 500, my first Indy 500, and that's all it took. I sat in a group. We sat along pit road, and I'm 9 years old, and I'm looking around. There's a big group of fans with white shirts on. You guys remember white shirts, black lettering. It said Mears Gang on it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, who the hell is this? I mean, I'm 9 years old. I'm not dropping F-bombs saying hell, but who the heck is this Rick Mears guy?
Hell's actually an H word, but that's okay.
You get the point.
I got the point.
So anyway, he does the 79, so he wins the race, and I am just automatically hooked, as is everyone, I think, that ever goes to the Indy 500. Hears about the spectacle, but you don't know what it is until you show up and go to a race, and once you do that, you're hooked for life.
I got talked to do it in 1962, and I haven't left yet.
There you go.
I got no brains. Mr. Young,
Yes, sir.
racer guy.
That's what I've been known as every time I come on this show.
What's is that the Twitter handle?
That's a Twitter.
Racer guy.
Racer guy. You want to know how that happened?
Yes.
All right, so how I got the name Track Dude was in 1992, I came to Indianapolis, Indiana, and was working for WRZX as a music director. At that time, a young man named Ed Sorensen was doing mornings on WRZX.
That's right.
Ed is now in Waco, Texas. I did not know that.
He actually just quit his job.
Did he
in
just
Waco,
quit his job?
Texas, yeah,
Wow,
so.
well, if you were in
You
Waco...
guys remember Ed Sorensen?
Yeah,
Yeah, a little
Ed
bit.
Source of Sports. So, Ed was burning the candle at both ends. He was doing mornings, he had to do sports at night, and he said, I can't do it anymore. He actually slept on the couch. He'd sleep on the couch at night. He'd get done with sports, come in, because I was doing nights at the time. He'd sleep on the couch and then get up in the morning, sometimes accompanied, sometimes not, but anyhow. So, he said, I can't do it anymore. So the program director at the time said, hey, you like racing, don't you? And I said, yeah, I love racing. He goes, well, we'll call you Track Dude. We'll send you to the track every day. You report from the track, and that's your job. Okay. I had no choice in the matter. And there was one time, I think, when I was doing public address at the Speedway. It might have been 2009, maybe 10. And I said, you know what? I'm getting older. This Track Dude thing's got to stop. It's just, I'm too old to be Track Dude. I was at the end of pit lane, and I was walking back to the pagoda, and all of a sudden, Track Dude! People from the Track Dude! And I was like, I'm stuck. I mean, it's just... The only person that doesn't know that's my moniker's you. So other than that, I've been pretty good. So
I know it. I'm trying to change
big
it.
fan,
change it.
obviously. Big
Yeah,
fan.
big fan.
So,
Yeah. Big fan of my work.
Now, what got you to become a member of the IMS radio network?
I begged Mike King for years. Mike, and I said, just give me a shot. And Mike's like, well, you're a pretty good public address announcer, but that's probably all you can do. You probably wouldn't be able to handle radio. So just hang in there. You keep working. You do a good job on public address. And one time, Wally Levitt needed, maybe Kansas, they needed somebody to fill in pits. And Mark had really talked to Mike and said, he's probably do all right. And they gave me a shot, and I passed the test, and that's how I kind of got involved.
I don't know if you noticed, but you're here.
Yes?
Where's Mike?
Mike is doing very well in Terre Haute.
Okay, well, that's no worries.
But it wasn't, I think at the time, there was something about when I came to Indianapolis with the mullet and all that and the rock and roll lifestyle that I was shunned by most of the racing community walking around. There's a picture of myself and Roberto Guerrero that I think even Roberto was scared when I walked up to him because I looked like the Lion King or something. I had a mullet.
Like, you're the only one that's ever had a mullet at Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
But considered a broadcast professional, I don't think a lot of people looked at me on from a rock and roll radio station as somebody that could handle being a broadcast professional. So thank goodness a lot of people looked past that and figured they could give me next to nothing to actually do this job and I'd be okay, and it all actually worked out. Because we had to give Mark a raise this year because, no, I'm kidding.
And I heard a lot of the ratings were because of a racer guy down in the pit.
Well, you know what the funny thing about the IndyCar Radio Network?
When
I started with Mike King, and it was Mark and Nick had just started as well, and Jake Query, I would put up.
Was the King there yet? Still?
Yeah, Dave was still around, but he was more of the 500. But I will say this, and I've been a big fan of not only been able to work with Mike King, Paul Page, work with Bob Jenkins on the public address staff. I've never worked with a finer group of broadcasters in my life than Nick Yeoman, Mark Jaynes, Jake Query, Dave First, Rob Howden, Katie Hargett. I will say that if you take one of our broadcasts head-to-head with it, and that's not being part of the broadcast, I've never been so honored and humbled to be able to work with so many talented people. It's amazing after we do our final pit stops just to listen to Jake and Mark and the guys call the final laps. I just sit and listen like a little kid and just like enjoy it just like anybody else. It's amazing. You kind of have to pinch yourself to be a part of this and to be able to say, knock on wood, because the race isn't here yet, that we were part of the 100th running is, I mean, a little kid from Delphus, Ohio, to be able to say, oh my gosh, I was able to be part of this great team is humbling. It really is.
What's it like, Dave, working for ABC, and they, of course, televise, and for 50 years, I think, they've been doing the 500.
Right, yeah.
Do you get anything that some of the other stations locally don't get because ABC is broadcasting the race?
Tony Kanaan.
Oh, boy.
Tony Kanaan.
Is that a good thing? No, never mind.
that?
Don't answer. Don't answer.
No. I don't know. I mean, I don't know about access-wise. I feel like everyone's got pretty good access to what they need and whatnot. I'm in that dilemma right now. It's not a dilemma, but there is a push. Maybe a show of hands, or what do you guys think? What do you guys think about showing the Indy 500 live locally? Would you be for that or no?
In my opinion, no, because I want to go.
Well, and that's the thing. And so
They're not going to stop the race because they're showing it live. Well, there's broadcasting the race live, so now we're not going to.
Well,
no.
NASCAR.
I like
does,
to go
but,
to dinner afterwards and watch the.
I agree with you. I enjoy that too.
So, but yeah, I mean that's the tradition for folks here in Indianapolis is you go to the race, you go home and then you watch the broadcast, the rebroadcast. And so anyway, so there's a big dilemma right now going on 16th and Georgetown, and at our place, and in Bristol, Connecticut, where essentially they run now ABC Sports about whether or not they should show the race live in Indianapolis. It would help the ratings, the overall ratings. It would help the revenue, but would the track go for it? Would the family go for it? I tend to believe it's probably still several years down the road right now. But anyway, so it's curious. You guys are before that? Yes or no? Yes? All right. You're going to be at the track anyway. But I think here's the deal. I think they're going to air it live, but still do a tape delayed at 7 o'clock. And so people that can still get home still watch that.
Boy, that's
one of the many things on the table right now.
I could see the money rolling into Channel 6 if they do that, boy. Wow.
That's why our folks are pushing hard for that. So, anyway.
Michael,
that
my
would not
friend.
happen, by the way, but thank you.
Yes, Don.
You have numerous duties, and
yes.
I have listened on a number of occasions when I think Pocono was one, I forget there's one other one I can think of, where they had the local track announcer introduce the drivers. Now, obviously, the man could read because he got there and he got to the right place and everything else, but he sure as hell couldn't pronounce a lot of the names. He had not a clue. And I heard people in the audience say, who? Who is that? Why would they not use you? You're there. You're standing there.
A lot of it is track politics, and IndyCar has to do. They have to play a fine line. Obviously, being the sanctioning body, and then you have these tracks that want to use their announcers, and to IndyCar's credit, they've really pushed to have me do the driver introductions, things of that nature, and that's kind of how I got involved with it back in St. Petersburg when I first did St. Pete in 2007, actually 2006. Brian Barnhart said, that was good, and the people in the series said that you do a good job at that, and that's how I kind of sold it, that at least we'd have consistency, because Elio Castro Novos and Tony Cannon, and this is Tony Kanaan has just won the 500, and I think the guy in Kansas, Tony Cannon just is here. And I'm like, oh, come on. And he actually came up to me after driver introductions and said, I think I'm starting to get these names. And I'm like, I thought you probably should have thought of that before you showed up to the track. But it's sometimes quite comical, and I felt the worst. Our drivers, I think, are used to it by now, and they shouldn't have to be, but they are, because people mispronounce a lot of the names. But the worst, I think, of all was at Pocono, Pennsylvania, and the announcer, great guy. And now for those most famous words in motorsports, please welcome golfing legend Fuzzy Zoeller. No, Zeller, Fuzzy Zeller. And so I don't know what it is. When you do this job, and Dave knows this, Mark will tell you, Nick will tell you, our job is to get names right, because that's what for me, even from not only the drivers but any presenting sponsors, little kids that come up and do anything. It's their one moment to be acknowledged, and you butcher their name, and that is a moment for them. And I take great responsibility. I know everybody else does. That you get that part right. You go out of your way to get that right, because it's that special moment for that person, and to not dignify that with pronouncing their name right, I think does it an injustice.
That's one of my pet peeves, by the way. When I go out, like cover high school basketball or even college basketball, if I don't know how to pronounce, I may go right to the kid and say, hey, how do you pronounce your last name? And you go, this is what a great lesson that you learned. I was talking with Rob Howden. It might have been Rob Howden. Anyhow. And no, it wasn't Rob. It was David Storvik. And I couldn't remember one of the Pro Mazda guys' names. And he goes, oh, I'll get it for you. I'll go ask the team owner. I'm like, okay. So he asked the team owner, and it's pronounced this way. I said, $100, it's not how he pronounces his name. He goes, what do you mean? It's a team owner. I'm like, that kid will go by whatever that team owner calls him. He's not going to correct the team owner. So the driver came over. I said, triple checking, how do you say your name? And the owner wasn't pronouncing it right. And David learned a lesson. But you sometimes have to go right to that driver, because or if you get certain drivers, they'll tell you 5 different ways. I think we're still trying to, Mikhail Aloshin, he said it 10 times how do you say it? Aloshin. How do you say it? Aleshin. How do you say it? Illusion. Well, that was Paul said illusion. But you will get 3 or 4 different pronunciations and maybe never get one properly. I do like the fact, though, that Paul Tracy still calls Elio just to give that little dig over the 2002 Indy 500. So, but I remember go back to when Dario Franchitti was dating Ashley Judd. He had just won his second or third Indy 500. He was on ET because Ashley was with him. They were at some movie premiere or whatever. And I'm thinking, well, this is a great pub. Dario Franchitti, an Indy 500 champion, he's on ET, he's on national television. There's his lovely wife, Ashley. They're at some big movie premiere, and the announcer says, and Ashley Judd was front and center along with her husband, Dario Franchitti. And I'm thinking,
and there's no E in Franchitti. I could see if you read Franchitti, but not Franchitti. Right. Yeah, that's not right.
That's all right.
Well,
at least he got his first name right.
Exactly.
You guys ready for St. Pete?
46 days till Friday.
Oh, really?
Yep, 46 days till the gates open. Yep.
I'll make note. 46.
Make a note. 46 days until St. Petersburg's opens.
Are your kids excited? 46 days from now, Dad will be gone. Let And the wife says,
It
I'm
might be
going
onto something
shopping.
there. Might be onto something.
Yeah, if anybody has not been to the season opener in St. Petersburg, I highly recommend you go down. It's one of the most wonderful races that IndyCar does. I know the city of St. Petersburg prides himself in that race, but it's so neat when you get down in turns 4, 5, 6, and 7. You can actually watch them when the cars actually come into 4 and they go really slow around that complex and they shoot down 8, 9. You can actually walk from here probably to the end of this shopping complex, and that's where the backstretch is. So if you made it fast enough, you could see the cars pass you and then walk back there and see the cars again. It's in a wonderful setting, being on the bay.
That's been Mark's vantage point.
Yeah,
for years
yeah.
until now.
He's in a good. By the way, I think, and all fun aside and all kidding aside, I'm so happy for Mark Jaynes, because not only is this a dream that's finally been fulfilled for him, but he is far and away one of the, if not the finest broadcasters I've ever worked with in my life, and one of the most deserved opportunities for him to be the voice.
Hey, Dave, is there any talk in...
I agree, by the way.
You better. They'll say, how come you didn't throw it to me? Oh, I'm sorry.
Harumph, harumph. Give the governor a harumph.
Is there any talk around Channel 6 Sports that maybe we ought to bring Jaynes in to, make him part of our broadcast team?
Technically, he's already a part of the broadcast team, because on a Friday night football, he is our analyst on HTSN. So
he knows it. He's an analyst.
Yes, he is. He does it all.
Yeah.
And we're glad and honored to have him part of the HTSN broadcast.
He does that. He does swimming. He does wrestling. He's done a dog show or two. He does it all. If they got sports in a high school, Mark is there. You know Fred Jones? Either one of you guys know?
I call him Mr. Jones.
So do I. But Mark was driving around lost in Muncie, and he pulls over to ask a guy where he's going. It was Fred Jones. And his wife, who is now looking at her
Mrs.
camera,
Jones?
thing again, says, for crying out loud.
We got a thing going.
You know somebody everywhere. The guy is famous.
He is. World famous, world renowned.
I want to thank you guys for coming in honor of Mr. Jaynes. I'm going to call up the other two members of the broadcast team.
That's it.
Harass them a little. Talk to them a little bit, see if they'll say anything nice.
We just got the hook.
Yeah, we did get the hook. Be nice to Nick, though. I mean, he really has been... He has been what? Well, he's been
on
taking
television.
some hits. I mean, he's for the record,
By the
Nick
way-
Yeoman is a fan of the Carolina Panthers.
Thank
So
you, yeah.
please,
How many Broncos fans do we have in here just for this week? How many Panthers fans do we have in here?
Nick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nick Yeoman. Nick Yeoman.
All right, joining me. And now move these things back this way a little bit, if you don't mind. I don't know why they got so far away. I brushed my teeth today and everything. Twice, actually.
I don't believe that at all.
That's true. And I use foo-foo. Well, Dave right now is hugging, so
You notice I didn't get a hug.
I know. And can you move down a little bit? I don't like to shout at you.
I'm
you're close.
moving.
I know.
My legs are short.
By the way, how nervous are you that you're up here with me?
Oh.
I've known Katie since we went to Ball State together. I've known her since she was
Unfortunately.
a freshman at Ball State. I've told her things, and she's told me things that we would never work again if we shared some of these things, though.
Maybe you've told me things. I haven't told you anything.
That's probably true.
Are either one of you responsible for the president resigning? Did you have anything to do with
Nick
that?
was actually
Put in my resume.
Yeah, when Paul Ferguson went there, he said Nick Yeoman has to stay, and Nick wouldn't stay.
Was the guy sick?
I don't know. I've never met the guy. We had Joanne Gora who was there, and she was kind of a foxy lady, and I was kind of a fan of hers.
Well, this just got
Thank
weird.
heavens for that. I'm glad you're not telling me I was kind of hot for you. Never mind. I want to get there. Joining us are members of the IMS radio broadcast team. We'll start with the young lady at the end. If you watch 59, you see her quite frequently. And she does an outstanding job, and she's a pit reporter. And it's kind of fun to sit up with Mark. When I used to be able to sit up with Mark and watch her running down the pit. Can you go talk to go down here? But she does an excellent job, and she's kind of nice to sit here and talk to. Please welcome Katie Hargett.
Thanks for having me, Don.
And unfortunately, the poor guy is the lone star. He's a guy, I guess it's a Panther guy for some unknown reason.
but he's a cameraman also for Fox 59. You don't see him, but you see his work all the time. Please welcome Mr. Nick Yeoman.
Thanks so much, Don. Thanks for coming out.
Katie, let me ask you, start off ladies first, of course. How did you get on the radio network? You're a television lady. What the hell are you doing on the...
I was actually on radio far before I was on TV.
Really? Somebody woke up and said, geez, what is she doing here? Don's got a face for radio, but certainly she doesn't. I mean, she does, but even better on television.
I think we kind of talked about this last time I was here when the
But these people were sleeping. Some of
when the
them.
2015 well, so I was
That's
I'm more
on
than
you,
willing
Don.
to tell this story again because I get to brag about Mark. But Mike King somehow found me and invited me out to St. Pete, and we were getting ready to go on air for the practice show, and Mark Jaynes grabs me and he's like, just grab anyone. I trust you. And so the first person I grabbed was Michael Andretti, and Mark said Mark just coached me through that whole weekend and still coaches me through every weekend, gives me pep talks. Mark's pep talks get me on air because I'm like a nervous puker, and so yeah. And was that TMI? Sorry.
Do you do that when Nick's got a camera on you?
Oh no.
Okay.
Nick doesn't shoot me.
Oh.
But boy, there's days I'd like to.
So what do you cover primarily for 59, Katie?
I'm actually finished with 59 now. I'm going to focus, my last day was Monday. I'm going to focus on IndyCar. Media Day is next Tuesday, so got some stuff going for NBC with that, and yeah, so I'm done with 59. I was on the morning show filling in for Lindy Thaxton when she was on maternity leave.
So now you're going away. You're going to NBC.
I'm going into hiding until St. Pete when I will be on the radio network.
I see. Are you a race fan? Have you been?
Have I been a race fan?
I mean, not since you hooked up with this.
I started racing quarter midgets when I was 9.
Really? Well, you're only about 13 now. Good grief, you're not that old.
Okay, just because I haven't grown since I was 13 doesn't mean I'm still 13.
Oh, okay.
I haven't grown either since I was 13, Don.
You've grown since the last time I
was going to say probably a week ago.
But you used to drive race cars?
Yeah, I started in quarter midgets when I was 9.
I just real quick want to get back involved with Katie. Here, hang on. She shared a story with me that I was unaware. I've known her for a year.
Oh, yeah.
And she shared a story with, and I want you to share that because this is like such a small world. Tell the story about the track. Plank, yeah, when the plank.
Okay, so I was a princess in 2011, and I was going through pictures to look for pictures to put up in my new apartment, and lo and behold, here's this picture of Michael Young interviewing me when I was a princess on the Yard of Bricks when planking was a thing. Anybody remember that in 2011?
Yes, it wasn't that long ago.
Okay, well, so anyway, I got a picture with Michael at the media dinner, and now I've got some nice pictures of Michael for my apartment.
Keeps the rats out. Yeah, racer guy.
It's in my shrine to Michael.
Jeez. Have you got any graphics on the walls, too? Has he hooked you up with some graphics?
Actually, my dad bought a poster of St. Pete because it was my first race with the radio network, and it was my first race last season, obviously, too. But anyway, Michael got it framed in carbon fiber for me, and that's in my apartment. It's gorgeous. It's really cool.
Boy, you're right. It's a shrine to him. He ain't.
Why would you? Who wouldn't want a Michael Young shrine?
Me.
I tried. I'm the only one that's nice to you.
Hey, by the way, I'm not going to kiss Mark Jaynes' rear like everybody else. I can't believe they gave him the job. Can you believe it? I mean, I don't even like the guy.
I guess I can't argue that, but as I said starting off, I asked Wally, is it true that all of you took a pay cut so they could hire him? And Wally said, yeah.
We don't get paid.
More or less.
Not anymore, you don't, that's for sure. You're a television guy, you're a camera guy, you're a technical kind of guy. You do have a face for radio. What gets you into racing? How did you get into racing?
Yeah, I just sent Wally and Mike King at the time like an 8x10 of my face, and they said, you're a guy for radio, so they gave me an opportunity. No, I've come from a racing family.
Your tryout was at the 500.
That's right. My first race on the radio network was at the 500, so that was.
They tried you out?
You want to talk about nervous puking? It was,
No,
that was a little
I don't.
intimidating.
I'm sorry, they're eating. I forgot.
Have you done radio prior to this?
Professionally, no. I just faked it. But no, I went to Ball State, and I'm sure as you've seen that school, I mean, Kevin Lee, Vince Welch, I mean, they're churning out lots of talented broadcasters, and somehow I slipped through the cracks. Yeah, Terry Linger, of course. So had a lot of opportunities up there to do various sports. I mean, I did swimming
David
and diving.
Letterman.
Oh, that guy. Yeah. That guy. Yeah, I'm growing the beard just like Letterman. Yeah, Papa John's. He doesn't have much to do with racing, but
no. Sponsors?
Yeah, enough plugs about Papa John's.
Yeah. You think Peyton will send us pizza? Not a chance.
I just hope they have the
Jake
ambulance
Burster
ready for Peyton
probably-
Manning after the Super Bowl.
No.
Because my Panthers, Don, are going to roll them. That's the response I expected. That's okay.
You should say they're going to pound them.
Yeah, keep pounding.
Now, out of idle curiosity, what the hell is your connection with the Panthers? What's your love affair?
I actually have a lot of family down in Charlotte, and as a kid, we used to vacation down there, and I say we, mainly my parents would just put me on a plane and send me down there for the summer.
Why?
You can imagine why.
I thought you dated Cam Newton once.
No. But I spent a lot of summers down there in the 90s, and they were a brand new team, and I was 7 or 8 years old and just kind of stuck. And they haven't been very good, Don, so you can give me a break here because they're having a great season. So I've been a fan for a long time.
Been very good. 15-1.
Well, this year, yeah.
Oh.
This year, but
It'll be 16-2 by the time it's over. Or 15-2. Sorry, I can't count.
But you have been, in fact, in spite of the fact that you're a Panther fan, you're a huge race fan?
I am, yeah. I was about to say, I kind of grew up in a racing family. My grandfather, Ted Knorr, who lives in Speedway, he collects a lot of stuff and has donated a lot of stuff to the museum. He was actually a track promoter in Rensselaer, Indiana, Rensselaer Raceway, that I'm sure some people have been to. So my uncles raced. My mom worked in the concession stand. My mom and dad actually met at that racetrack. So, I mean, it's just something I've been around all the time, and you know how it is when the bug gets you, it's hard to get rid of it.
I'm kind of sorry I brought you two up because Dave first left. Was it Mark? Was it something either one of them?
I don't
said?
watch RTV6 anyways.
Oh. You won't what? You won't watch 59 anymore. She's gone.
Oh, I still have to work there. They still pay me, so I'll be the one.
Was there a lot of people saying she's leaving? Oh no.
I haven't asked them yet.
No one knew who I was.
You were there very long.
I worked from 4 a.m. to 10 a.m. No one knew who I was.
Gee whiz, you could sleep in until 6:30 or 7 now.
I can. It's great. I slept till 6 today.
Wow. And if you'd have
I got used to waking up at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Jeez Louise. You'd be a lot of fun to take out. You
Yeah,
sleep during
I'm
the
in
day
bed
and
by
wake
4.
up. The guy's ready to go home, and you're saying, where are you going?
See, Nick would text me at like 6 p.m. and I would text him at 2 a.m. and then he woke me up. I woke him up in return.
That's not bad.
More or less, yeah.
I never thought. I got her number. I could text her.
Just do it. Yeah, just text her things randomly.
It won't be at 2 in the morning, I can assure you.
Nothing good happens at 2 a.m., Don.
I know.
That's the old saying.
No, it's
I know.
nothing good happens after midnight, Nick.
So what do you think of the broadcast team? Now, you're fairly new, been at it a year. How is this group to work with?
Lauren said it perfectly. The biggest group of smartasses off the radio, and then as soon as it turns on, the best people to work with. I told Mark that I couldn't wait to work St. Pete with them because I know that as soon as we get off air, Mark is going to tell me, hey, you did this great, but you should work on this. And that's what every young broadcaster wants, is someone that can give them an honest opinion about what they need to improve upon and tell them how they can improve it. And that's Mark Jaynes exactly.
Well, I suppose the obvious question everybody's whispering, how does he know so much?
God-given talent. I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, it was all those years practicing
I see.
with when he was Al Unser and Johnny Rutherford and Mark Jaynes, all in one.
Really?
Yeah.
I hadn't heard that story. That ought to be a good one. And what's your thought as being part of that gang? I mean, again, I used to hang around in in a production trailer and the stuff going on. You went, jeez, wait.
Yeah, we don't have much of a filter, do we?
No.
It's a blast. It's about as much fun as I think you can have. I think the thing that I enjoy about working with all these guys is just that there's no thin skin. I mean, we literally will.
Better not have.
Yeah, I mean, it's that's just how it is. And then once we go on the air, I hope when people listen to our races that they can tell that, boy, those guys are having fun and they're really enjoying what they're doing, because it's a blast. It's an honor to do what we do. I mean, I'm about to call my 7th Indy 500, Don. I mean, that's it's just crazy for a guy at 28 to get a chance to do that. So we just continue to have a lot of fun, and honestly, it's one of those, like Mark said, it's a dream job for him to move into that anchor spot, but it's still a dream for all of us to get to call these races, because it is a lot of fun.
And I think, to me, having hung around and watched it, that's the most important part, is to have a good time, enjoy it, and when the light comes on, you carry that through and just have a lot of fun. And you may have said something, well, what the hell happened to your hair? But when the light's on, you're gone.
My hair?
Hers.
Oh.
You haven't got it. What the hell am I going to talk about yours?
I got rid of all mine.
So did I, but not the way you did.
We're all going to get there one day, though. Right?
Oh, no. Well, are you ready for St. Pete? Are you, now that you're not working a hell of a lot, are you ready to go down? You're going to leave a little early?
I wish I was. I've got a vacation planned, which is going to help me pass the time. But I have a countdown app on my phone. I check it every day, even though I know I check it every day, and I'm like, okay. I posted the cutest picture of my cat the other day on Facebook.
That's she didn't have enough time on her hands. A lot of cat photos these days.
Okay, who does not love a cute cat?
What's his name, though? They'll like his name.
His name is Bogey Foyt. We found him on a golf course, so I had to give him a golf first name, but I couldn't leave racing out of it, so his last name is Foyt. He didn't take my last name. And he was laying on the couch next to me the other day when I was eating breakfast, and I looked over, and he has his paw on my remote. So, of course, I put on Facebook, he was asking me how many days so we could watch IndyCar. I told him 52.
Isn't that adorable?
52.
My landlord won't let me have animals. They got one look at me and said, that guy.
Because you are the animal.
Pretty much, yeah. They wouldn't trust me.
Katie, I've got a suggestion for you.
I'm a crazy cat lady. I know. I don't care.
I think you could find something more exciting than a damn cat.
Him.
Well, not him. Well, maybe. I don't know. That's your choice. You were a former princess. Were you queen?
I was not.
What runner-up were you? Second?
I wasn't any of them. I was just a princess.
That's what Mark says. Here, you want to meet the
But
princess?
I think Hinch is going to be like the first king or something this year. Anybody seen that? Those videos are hilarious. The quest for the crown.
I don't know. I think IndyCar is losing their control as well, but I think that's a smart thing to do, and as long as they tell people where to find it, so fans can look and say, oh, and see the personalities of the people involved. I just saw the one Connor Daly put up talking about his quest last year and what he went through and all that kind of thing. I mean, it wasn't hilariously funny, but you see and you listen, it's kind of neat, and I think it's great that they're doing that. And we're going to have Mr. Jaynes and Mr. Wiitch come up, and we're going to talk about how they're going to cross-promote and let the world know where you are going to be and where they can hear you on IndyCar.com. Geez, nobody says that but me. But that's changing. Enjoy your time off.
Thank you.
We're going to see you at the racetrack. I think a lot of these people want to see you at the racetrack.
They don't even want to go. Hell, they want to watch the damn thing on television.
Watch NBC. With TV on mute, IndyCar radio on IndyCar.com.
Are you going to be working for NBC Sports Network at all?
Yes. Yep. I'll be with radio in St. Pete and Detroit.
I'm talking about television.
And TV, that's...
What are you going to do? Are you going to run up and down like somebody else used to do? Hey, son, and do interviews? Or
oh, Robin? Robin will be back.
Oh, jeez.
Son, let me tell you something.
Yeah, jeez. You'd be so much better, and you run better. You're more fun to watch run.
Anders Krohn has the greatest blackmail of me running down pit lane at IMS looking like a dodo bird.
Careful there.
Be careful. I said, I got to
I
get
used
Andrews.
my filter there.
I got to get Andrews. I've talked to him. I got to get him in here. I haven't talked to him in a while.
He's getting married. He's getting
Yeah,
hitched.
I know that.
Yeah, when you get married, you're a little busy a couple months after done. I wouldn't know, ladies. Anyone?
Don't look at me. I want to thank you for coming in and
Thanks for having
honoring
us.
the man in the seat. And he is a fun guy to work with. He's got a sense of humor that is unmatched. I think the only one who could really keep up with Mark was Dave Wilson.
I think so.
And
They're
those
pretty
two guys
witty.
got to go in the production trailer. Jeez. And poor Wally, he's cowering in the corner. So you try and leave him alone. But didn't always work. Thanks for coming here.
Appreciate it, Don.
Thanks for
so
having
much.
us, Don.
Katie Hargett, don't watch her on Fox anymore. Look for her on NBC. And Nick Yeoman. Now these two gentlemen are coming back. Take care. Coming back up. And as I said, if anybody has an interest in deer or scenery in America, we have just a couple calendars left. You're welcome to help yourself. And after the program, I still have a few. Slide down this way so we get you in the picture, all of you, both of you. Joining on the outside, of course, is the man that I had up earlier. He is will be the voice of the Indianapolis 500, along with his staff, Mr. Mark Jaynes. And joining Mark is the gentleman who is, I don't know, what are you, the editor or co-owner or something to do with
Editor, co-owner,
and just general,
whatever. Yeah,
just whatever needs to be to get done and get it out and going, Mr. Steve Wiitch. Now, I got your email the other day explaining what Trackside Online is doing. And they're expanding. And they're doing something that I thought should have been done, and now you're doing it. It's cover the Mazda Road to Indy. And let people know who these kids are that are moving up that you will one day see at IndyCar, and you say, where the hell did he come from? You're going to tell them.
Yeah, it's something we've done in the past. We've covered Mazda Road to Indy, but we've decided over the last couple of years that we need to expand that coverage because they're the next IndyCar drivers, and people really don't get a chance to know them. And they're really good kids. So what we've done is, you guys are familiar with Trackside Online. It's a subscription service for IndyCar news. We've broken off a new site called TSOladder.com. And our plan is to cover, it'll probably be about 80% Mazda Road to Indy, a little bit of the other open wheel series, the new USF4 series, and the new Formula Light series, and also we're going to do a little bit of USAC coverage too. We were just out. Patrick was out at the Chili Bowl last week, and we sponsored a driver from Colorado, Chris Scheel, who had a bit of a rough go early, but then I think he got through 5 or 6 features on Saturday night, so he had a good run. And
how did somebody from Colorado, how did that happen?
Patrick actually lives in Colorado.
I know he does.
And Chris is actually the president of the Rocky Mountain Midget Association, and he's a pretty solid shoe. So,
what made you guys decide? Let's expand our coverage. Why? I mean, I think it's great, but why did it take this long for you guys finally say it's time to step up and do it?
Well, Patrick and Joe had always done a great job of covering IndyCar. And I had my own blog that covered a lot of the Mazda Road to Indy. And then we saw a need that, we could work together on this instead of, trying to compete on it. And that's how that started. About 2 years ago we hooked up.
Now, you said that Trackside Online is a subscription service. And I have said to people forever, if you want to know what's going on with IndyCar and now with the Mazda Road to Indy, there was a test today down in Homestead for the Mazda Road to Indy program. But if you want to find out what IndyCar is doing, whether it's practice, whether it's a racetrack, or just in the off-season, who's testing, who's doing what, Trackside Online has everything. You will say to yourself, for $22, I got how many hundreds and hundreds of emails? They know what's going on. You guys cover the series with a blanket.
Yeah, we try and do it a little differently than the average person. We actually are the average media source. We try and do it a little more personally. You'll get a lot of travel tips, a lot of eating tips.
That's Patrick.
That's Patrick, but we all try to throw that in there. But we also try and bring you the stuff that a lot of others won't. Like most media they can cover a certain amount, and that's all they can put in. But because we can write 10,000 words a weekend, it doesn't matter. And we'll go and we'll find out, okay, what happened to the guy who ran 18th? Why did he, why was he top 5 and then he fell down to 18th? That's something we always find out for people. We all have a deep passion for the sport. I think my first race was in 1978 up at Mossport, and I've been to hundreds and hundreds of races, and it's my passion. It always has been.
Now, if you look on autosportradio.com, if you didn't get an email, you can go and read Steve's bio. It's quite interesting what he's done. And I think what you guys are doing, and particularly I brought Mark up because something that he and I have talked about in the past is you need to have, you guys are putting all this out, and they're on air. The IMS radio network wasn't even mentioned in last year's program, or prior to that for that matter. Here they are broadcasting to the world to 600, 700, 800 stations, and nobody knows it, except the ones that are there. And you guys are going to kind of hook up and cross-promote each other.
Yeah, I think the last couple of years, with Nick's help, we have worked very, very hard to kind of increase our awareness within the confines of the company in terms of using IndyCar Radio as a value-added element for corporate sponsors and things of that nature, like Firestone and Honda and Chevrolet. We've had some success with that to the point to where we don't have to go looking for them now. We can walk into the media center and their PR reps are approaching us, asking us for the opportunity to come on. We can give them the immediacy and the access that television doesn't have the ability to give them. Furthermore, as much as we'd like to think that we are the sole vehicle for people to get their information about IndyCar, we know that's simply not the case. And so over the past few years, we've worked closely with improving our relationships with media partners and other folks involved in covering the series, like Steve and Patrick and Joe Berkmeyer from Trackside Online. People that cover the series like John Oriovitz and Bruce Martin and Kurt Cabin and Robin and Jeff Olson and all of those folks. We have them on, and in the booth, Tony DeZino's another one who does an outstanding job. And it's an opportunity for, as you suggest, cross-promotion. They mention it, they post it on Twitter, their followers see it. We promote the fact that they're coming on, and it's a win-win because it introduces our listeners to them and what they do and their outlets, and then, we trust vice versa. And with what Steve and Joe and Patrick are doing with Trackside Online, it's in the early stages. We haven't really even had the chance to meet about it, but we anticipate it going pretty smoothly to the point where we can do a lot of mutually beneficial cross-promotion throughout the season.
Well, since you're on radio, Steve would make a good guest for that, as would I, of course. But are you planning on doing that, I'm sure he'll be happy to mention in their stuff as the race come up, hear it live, listen to the practice qualifying races on IndyCar.com, Sirius XM Radio, and wherever all it.
Well, ultimately, that's the goal. We just have to make sure that the folks that Steve needs to involve in that decision-making process are okay with that. And same thing with us, which would be Wally Levitt, our network director, and we think that once we lay it out, map it out to them at what it is we're looking for, we think they'll understand the value in it, and we think some really cool things can happen as a result.
All right, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. TracksideOnline.com, ladder, whatever the email, which you'll give later. What happened in the practice today down in Homestead?
So Indy Lights official practice started today at Homestead on the road course. They had 11 cars. Amazingly, all 11 drivers were within 1 second of each other, which is just, it's going to be an incredible year in Indy Lights. I can't say enough about what Dan Anderson and his group has done. 2 years ago, we were looking at 7 and 8 car fields. Last year, it bumped up to 12 car fields. And I think this year we should be 16 to 17 cars at St. Pete. We had 11 at the test. It was led by Ed Jones, who was in the championship hunt last year with Carlin. Second was a young gentleman named Felix Rosenquist, who I rate very highly. He's from Europe. He was a Formula 3 champion last year. And getting a driver like him to come over would be a huge benefit to the road to Indy and give it legitimacy around the world.
There's some pretty good names. Carlin's got a second car, I believe, now. Aren't they?
Carlin's going to have 3 cars this year. They've got Ed Jones, and then Felix Morales, who was with Bilardi last year, won a race at Milwaukee, and then Neil Alberico just signed yesterday.
Yeah, I just saw that. They stole him.
We're supposed to remain impartial, but we got to secretly root for our boy Zach Beach, who was our driver analyst last year. So we're thrilled for Zach and the opportunity that he has with Bilardi. I hope for great things for Zach. Would love to see him win the championship. And, as good a driver as he is, he's even a classier kid and outstanding young man. We're thrilled for him.
Well, I think the neat thing about it is his eye and goal was IndyCar, but he wasn't silly enough not to take the opportunity to come up and do it.
Yeah, there have been others that, Saavedra did that a few years ago, and it ended up paying off for him. So hopefully Zach will benefit as well. That'd be great.
And it's going to be an interesting season for Zach. There's I'd say 6 or 7 guys probably legitimately that will be in the championship hunt.
Yep, no question.
It's going to be R.C. Enerson from last year.
Yeah.
As an 18-year-old rookie, won a race, ended up 4th in points. Everybody but Max Chilton, Spencer Piggott, and Jack Harvey should be back.
Yeah.
How about R.C.? Was he down? I'm sure he was because he lives in Florida.
I think he was 3rd quick.
Was he?
Yes. He's a very quick driver.
Yeah, he's going to be good.
Yeah, he is.
And of course, driving for Schmidt, he's won a couple races and a couple championships.
Just a few. I think they're going for their 8th this year, 8th championship.
Now, if somebody wants to subscribe to Trackside, how do they do it?
If you go onto tracksideonline.com, at the top there's a section that says subscriptions. All you have to do is click on that, and it's a PayPal payment of $22. And you can set up then what kind of emails you want to get. If you want to get every single PR release from every team and every series, you can do that. If you just want to get our news, you can do that. If you want to pick and choose, you can do that. And then if you sign up before the first race, we'll sign you up then also for the Trackside Online ladder emails as well. And that's normally it's going to be a $10 extra subscription, but for anybody who's a subscriber now or becomes a subscriber in the next couple months, we'll throw that in.
And trust me when I tell you, they send out stuff. The PR, some of the PR from some of the teams, IndyCar doesn't send out, but they do because they get everything. So you'll find out everything that's going on from everybody. It's $22. You'll drop that much in the couch sleeping, or I will anyway. So it's well worth it, and you guys really do a great job. The thing that's interesting to me about it, especially in the same with Mark and his crew, the teams talk to you because you don't BS, you don't make up stuff. You don't, you tell the story. What they tell you is what you say.
That's easy for me. It's I don't necessarily have a journalism background. I have some journalism classes. I was in sales for most of my life, and a lot of you that are in sales know you don't make the sale if you're lying.
Right.
If you're not telling the truth. So it's a pretty easy thing for me to do. It's pretty easy for all of us to do.
Well, I'll tell you what, I hope people will listen to this. Go to tracksideonline.com, go to the subscription, and subscribe to it. It's well worth it. You will know when you go to the racetrack what's been going on, who's been doing what. You'll find out. I want to thank you for taking the time to come here.
Thanks for having me again.
It's a pleasure to talk to you, and of course, I read your stuff all the time.
Thank you.
And I appreciate now you put my stuff up. So,
yep.
See, he and I are working together already. Right? And Mark, I got to say, because Desiree told me to say this, that behind every successful guy is his wife.
That's right. My entire family, her and the rest of my family, my daughter Lauren, son Evan. It may have been to their benefit. I don't know. They've done without me a lot of weekends. 20 years worth, in fact.
Yeah, they kind of thought that was cool.
They seem to thrive.
Yeah,
So.
Yeah.
But if you don't mind, Howdy, would you stand up, please? Howdy, Bell, stand up, please.
Can you?
Give him a round of applause. Our goal is to make all of you proud of us. All of us. We want to make you proud of us. Thank you.
And in case Howdy hasn't told you, he's in the Hall of Fame.
Deservingly so.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I love to pick on him. We have a good time up in May, and I love it. It's fun. Hand me that poster, please. I've mentioned to you that
they can't change their mind now. It's printed. I'm on there, so it's official. That was my biggest fear is when I get to St. Pete, I'm going to walk in the booth, and right before we go on, Bob or Paul or Mike's going to walk in and say, just kidding, get out of here, kid.
Well, he just spoiled the reason I wanted this damn thing. If you get one, at the bottom, you'll see his smiling face. Mark's smiling, well, yeah, smiling face. They just told him you're maybe got the job you want.
Yeah.
But this is it. If you want one, unfortunately, as you will notice, this is the official poster. Until they got a presenting sponsor. Now they got to redo them, I guess, because the presenting sponsor is in there. But we've got some. If you want any, please stop by and help yourself. We'll give you some. Next week we'll be here. I want to thank Mark Jaynes. I want to thank Steve Wiitch for being here.
Thank you, Don.
Thank you, Don.
I want to thank Nick, Katie. She's probably gone already. Oh, no, there she is. Mr. Young. Always a pleasure. Dave First, who had to go back and leave house, so his kids are happy he's not there. Next week I have some guests I'm working on. If you want to know who they are, go to autosportradio.com and click on the current program tab, and it will tell you when I get guests. They'll pop up there. And for those of you who aren't aware, within about 45 minutes to an hour, this program will be on YouTube. You can go to youtube.com, and in a search box up top, put in Autosport Radio Show and click on it. It'll pop up there. In about 45 minutes an hour, it'll be there. And you go to autosportradio.com on the home page. The picture will show up. Mark will probably be the one there. In the middle, you put your mouse in the middle and the arrow's there, and it'll pop. The program will be there. It takes 30, 45 minutes to get there. But we thank you for being here. Thank you for watching and listening. Until next week, Don Kay saying good night. Thank you. See you next time.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Hey.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. I will take you up on the booth business.